Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another exciting episode of Stacker News Live. My name's Car with my BFF Keyan. Keyan, how's your week?
Oh man, it was a week of all weeks. It was super weeky.
Super weeky. What
it
does
was
that even
super
mean?
weeky. It was the most weeky week that has ever existed in a month, which has existed in a year.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It was really like that.
Yeah, it's summertime.
okay.
I mean, it's been a very slow week in Austin. It's a lot of conferences going on. It's summertime.
Yeah, there's the BTC Prague, which is like Europe's
Bitcoin conference.
Bitcoin conference.
I heard it's better than Bitcoin conference.
Really? They do it better in Europe?
I mean, is it really hard to do better than the Bitcoin conference at this point? It's not
But
that
why
hard.
is it better? It's the same, run by the same company, isn't it?
Well, there's no poo-poo coins.
But isn't
They don't prioritize poo-poo coins. At least that's what I heard.
Europe doesn't like poo-poo coins?
But isn't it? Wait, do they have?
Isn't it BTC Magazine's thing? BTC Prague?
No, I don't think so. Stackers, let us know. I don't think it is.
Oh, okay. Wonder who it's run by then.
It's probably some Europeans, some base Europeans, I would imagine.
Based Europeans.
But yeah, I think it's at this point, is it really hard to top Bitcoin conference? I would even say TabConf has topped the Bitcoin conference at this point.
For a certain demographic, I would say so. But clearly, BTC Magazine's conference that typically takes place in Miami, taking place in Nashville this year, attracts more people.
I think they should change it to Bitcoin Tradfi conference.
Ooh, that's kind of a diss. I don't think they go for that.
I think that actually fits them better. Then they can just be what they are.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they do try. It is a bit. I don't know what's going on with that conference. It certainly isn't anything like BTC++'s conferences or TabConf. It is its own thing, which has a little more of a normie leaning.
I don't think any of the snackers are going.
It's trying to be like Disneyland.
No, it's trying to be like everything.
That's what Disneyland is.
Oh, is that what Disneyland is?
That
Yeah,
is. It's like it's
of
trying to attract every family in the world.
when you try to be everything, you turn out to be nothing.
You stand for nothing. That's what they say.
Woo!
Woo doggy. What do you? Well, how was your week?
It was good. Yeah, it's good. It's been a good week. It's just really slow in Austin, you know? It's just a really slow time. Not a lot of people working. It seems like our AI neighbors take more days off than Plublab, I would say.
They certainly do. I've noticed that. I have practically a front row seat to
Their work ethic.
My office neighbor's calls, his like video calls that he does from his office, because he's like a really loud yapper. He's like a full-on yapper. And so I get to hear all those.
Yeah, seeing other startups' work ethic is always very, it's always interesting to me.
It varies. I think
Yeah.
some people do really well with not working a whole lot, depending on, and some of them they'll take a technical role where they founded it, and then they'll kind of step back into like another executive role, but let someone else like do the like main leader guy, the guy taking all the shots. And that can be another way to do it. And then a lot of the B2Bs are definitely more
Slower in the summer.
sluggish. They don't really need to be. But when are they working is what I'm trying. They don't work in the winter, in like holidays in the winter.
Call them out.
And then summers they don't work either, because they need a break from the 2 months in between their holiday break and summer. What is going on?
Dude, you can't, I mean, unless it's a Bitcoin AI company, you shouldn't be invested in it.
A Bitcoin AI company?
My opinion.
I thought you were all about miners and exchanges.
They're just gonna work harder than these.
What about eCash, Car?
The other thing I was gonna bring up, I think, gosh, you got me on the tangent. And I was thinking about it. Gosh, I
Someone
lost
has
it.
an agenda.
It was a really good tangent. It was gonna go down, and now the snackers will never know, because you said the Car's trigger word and just forgot it.
eCash, yeah.
So yeah, I just forgot everything I was gonna talk about. That's my word to get me off track.
What's that word like when it's like the word when you're being naughty with someone and they need like a word to escape? Like
That's your word.
eCash is your word.
It gets me off track.
It's a safe word. It's your safe word.
It gets me off track.
eCash is Car's safe.
Anyways, too much fun. If you've never seen this crazy show before, it's called Stacker News Live. We cover the top 5 stories on stacker.news, the front page of Bitcoin, voted by you, the stackers. I don't get a vote on this stuff. Keyan doesn't get a vote on this stuff.
I do.
Actually, you
and
do.
You do too.
Sometimes.
So all of what he said is wrong.
But what's great about Stacker News is you get to join an online community of other Bitcoiners who are like-minded like you. And you get to talk about some ridiculous stuff. And sometimes there's some informative stuff like today's top story. The first top story of the day is running a Bitcoin hostel in El Salvador. This is from Carl B. Menger, June 12th, Bitcoin Territory post. 32 comments, 13,000 cents. Keyan, what's this?
Yeah, so Carl B. Menger, he writes these quite frequently long-form posts and is blogging for quite a while. I should go up and I should count them. But he's thinking of opening a hostel in El Salvador. He said it's been a long-time dream for him, and he has a bunch of concept images. He's going to call it Forever Laura, which is a pretty awesome name for a hostel.
Is that the oh wow, I see the F and the L now.
Yeah, he's really Dude, gone hard on the dream.
You should tell Laura Shinch, I'm sure she'll be moved by it.
Yeah, maybe she'll come and help you promote it. Do like a video or something. That'd be great. But yeah, he has like a pretty clear vision for it. He's trying to find property for it. And you know, he's like speccing it out. Like, what will this really look like? What does his dream destination for Bitcoiners look like? And I think it's a really cool like business for Bitcoiners, because Bitcoiners will come to you, kind of like what happens with Pub Lab, rather than you having to travel around the world to meet them. So I think, yeah, it's pretty awesome. And
he's doing a geyser funding thing.
He's doing a geyser.
Wow, how much has it got so far?
We'll see. I haven't looked at it yet.
$36.
Okay, so he's almost there.
He's almost there.
He can buy a lamp, an IKEA lamp. But I suspect he's going into it with quite a bit of investment himself. But yeah, I think this is pretty. He wrote a post a few months ago about having visited El Salvador and did a thorough review, and I guess he's really sold on it.
He's really sold on it,
and is looking to move there.
Plant his flag. It's cool, man. I love to see it. The first top comment is from Died on Titan. He says, "Great idea."
Hot comment, but not
wait,
top.
what?
If you go to top, you'd see the top comments.
Oh.
But you're looking at hot comments.
I always forget that. The top comments from Siggy47 says, "I was getting ready to book a stay until I realized it's still a vision. It sounds great regardless." Carl B. Menger says, "Congratulations suddenly." Died on Titan says, "Great idea, wonderful vision. I have traveled extensively all over Central America and will happily return for this when it becomes a reality." The name reminds me of Hotel California. How long will you be staying with us? Forever, Laura. Forever.
Ooh, that's a nice. That could be a nice like a theme for an ad.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah,
that's actually really cool.
I'd love to stay there.
Anon said, "I stayed at Casa Satoshi in San Cristobal, Mexico last year. It's also a Bitcoin hostel." No. Maybe you guys could connect. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, take advantage of other Bitcoiners doing similar things to you. They're really resources that you should be
tap into. Yeah.
Yeah, and not necessarily in a selfish way. It's useful for them. It's useful for you. It's useful for Bitcoin, and that's kind of what.
Dude, I
talk
talk to a lot of people who are trying to do similar things with us, and I always give them the best advice. And sometimes I learn a thing or two. There's only a few people we can talk to in the world about this. My only few thoughts on this would be like, Carl, if you're listening,
sit down.
You're
take a seat. Take a knee.
You're doing a service. So it's a service job. It's if you think it's going to be like some glam, I'm sure he doesn't think this, but if you think it's going to be like some glamorous thing, it's not. It's taking out the trash. It's doing all the little things on top of all the hospitality stuff. So just keep that in mind, because people forget.
But there's honor.
I want to open up a 7-Eleven. Then you forget you got to refill the Slurpee machine.
Would they forget that? That'd be like the number one. That'd be what I'd be looking forward to. What is in a Slurpee?
No, I think people do forget, because they'll have money to spend on all the amenities, but they forget actually the thing that actually matters the most is getting people to come back and back and back and back and back again. It's like you got to make them feel special.
But I think there's something really I don't know, noble in that kind of job. That thing of like touching people so deeply and kind of meeting all their needs. There was a book I read, East of Eden by Steinbeck recently, and there was a character in the book who was a like a house servant for one of the rich men. and he describes like he's very smart and like capable of doing a lot in the world, but he loves being a house servant. And the way he describes it like really convinced me that there's likely more to this than just the grunt work of this. Like the service, there's something.
Yeah, you have to really
very special about the service.
You have to definitely really. I know this because I feel like I'm in that position. You definitely have to care more about people than sometimes yourself. Sometimes, if that makes any sense. Not entirely, but there's an element to that. You have to really give a crap about the people around you. If that makes any sense.
But it was interesting. Is like he described even not, like even for people that he didn't like too much, still something about like making their lives better.
Yeah, there's
such a big way.
There's been so many, dude. There's been so many people I've helped that I absolutely do not like. But
many of them are in this room.
No, not at all. But you know what I mean? Like it's a thing, Keyan. It takes a special type of person. That's why you see very few Bitcoin educators out there. It's a special type of person. Cool story. The next top story is how to make your own code wallet. This is from Natalia, June 11th, Bitcoin Territory post. 60 comments, 24,000 sats. What is this? Is this good advice or bad advice?
This is good advice.
Okay.
Yeah, how to make your own cold wallet in Tails OS. So you have a USB drive and you have a fresh operating system, Tails OS on it, and it comes with Electrum on it. So she describes the whole thing. You generate the key on the device. It's offline. It's encrypted, and boom, you have yourself a cold wallet that was $8. And it's pretty good.
What about like
it's fairly advanced technology.
What about entropy and all that? Because I'd imagine it's all offline, right?
Yeah, but the entropy, I believe, is coming from the computer that it's plugged into. So the operating system is running on is on the USB drive itself, but all of the entropy is sourced from the other computer components, like you would on a normal computer, generate entropy. I don't know, like maybe your computer, I would guess most modern computers, if you're using a laptop or anything else, would be able to generate pretty good entropy. You of course could come with your own seed to this setup and simply store it there, roll dice, whatever. You're basically using Electrum, so you could do anything you would normally do on Electrum on a normal computer. The main point is that it's kind of it's never really touched your hard drive otherwise. On your normal everyday computer that's online.
Oh, she's using Blue Wallet to add the wallet.
She's using Blue Wallet. If she sets up a small emergency stash, she'll restore into a Blue Wallet and then spend from that Blue Wallet is what she's describing there. This is probably one of the I think this is one of the better options for people to set up a cold wallet cheaply and securely.
This seems like a million sat madness. This seems like a million sat kind of project to me. If that makes any sense. Like drop a million sats like this and then test it out before doing the. I don't know. I'm just very paranoid about that. I feel like I would try this a couple times before I would actually.
That's what she describes.
She does. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
She describes that she went through a learning process.
Oh yeah, she goes right there.
Yeah, she did tons of tests on doing this, backing up, restoring very small amounts, and doing it over and over repeatedly until she felt very comfortable with the process, and then she felt comfortable storing her funds. She describes that any spending she did on hardware wallets felt excessive, and she thinks it was a waste of money. And so
because she would just be spending from hardware wallets, is what you're saying?
No, she said that the purchase of the hardware wallets, it was, they're quite expensive, and she's not sure she's getting much more security over this method here, specifically because she's encrypting the seed on these devices, and so it's not the hardware wallets are really useful if you're not encrypting the seed, and it's basically stored in the secure element, and that's my understanding of this, at least. I'm not a total freak about this stuff. Or I'm not super skilled in this stuff. But the secure element is storing it, more or less in plain text. Otherwise, and that's why you need the hardware of that to be very secure. But in the case where you're actually encrypting the data, you don't need that element. And so it has this like downside risk of you losing the password that you encrypted it with. If you are encrypting it, but you don't even necessarily have to encrypt it, but it does leave your thing a little more vulnerable.
Let's look at the top comment.
I think I said some bullshit in there, so don't.
No, we kind of assumed.
Yeah, good.
The top comment was from Noel County. He said, I heard rumors that some Bitcoiner has forked Tails OS and added a bunch of popular Bitcoin wallets tools to the base install. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? And then Scoresby says, there's also Ben Westgate's Bales. Bitcoin Amnesiac Incognito Live System.
Yeah. So this is like, I think he like extends Tails to do a little more than
it. Yeah. And then it looks like Entropy Bearer says, I think that's the tool that you're looking for. And it's the disobedient technological details, I guess it's called. This one looks cool. Wow, look at that. You can install Spectre. There's a way to verify this, right? Like all the checksums on it, or no?
Yes, you definitely should. I don't think she went through that. I think she had another post previously about verifying checksums. And so you'd want to
cool.
read that.
So definly check out
I changed Wix.
Whoa. Definitely check out. There's a YouTube video.
Who's that lady? Is that your sister?
Calm down. There's a video down here if you want to try the details. That's cool. This would be fun. I don't know about doing all this other stuff though. I feel like this would be, or it's the same thing, I guess, right?
Yeah.
This feels more right to me.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe because it's on GitHub.
I see GitHub is more trustworthy.
Is that bad?
No, I mean
because it's just
real.
It's just one install,
Oh well, she's describing is just how to use it once you install it.
Okay. Oh, she's talking about like post install,
but she's basically describing installing something like that and then using it to generate your seed.
I'll give it a shot.
I'll give it a shot. Yeah, I think it's a fun. What's great about this is this is something you can really recommend to someone who doesn't have $150 to spend on a hardware wallet.
Which are people in Africa.
Yeah, the majority of the world, like not only people in Africa, but probably the majority of the world don't have $100 to spend on a hardware wallet. And so this is kind of, we get a lot of questions like that on Stacker News is like, what's the cheapest way I can create a cold wallet? And this is, as far as like trade-offs of everything, this is probably the best bet that you can have.
Yeah.
You have a computer, you have a fresh storage device. You can take it offline.
Good post. Then there's more conversations in here. Yeah, definitely check it out, Stackers. It looks like there's a BTC Sessions video too as well. He's a trusted source of information for this kind of stuff. Yeah, cool. The next top story is, how do you feel about negotiating? This is from a Coob, June 9th, Culture Territory, 104 comments, 4,200 sats. Keyan, what did you post this week?
Yeah, this is me. We have to I described last podcast, I think. We were negotiating a rent.
How did that go?
For the year. We're still working on it. We have until the end of the month. We extended for a month to figure out what we want to do. But
are you going to El Salvador?
No, we're going to stay in Austin.
Oh, okay,
we're trying to
good.
decide where we want to, how we want to do it. How we would like to live in Austin. But
dude, move to where I live. I don't want to talk where I live, but dude, that'd be fun. I could bother you every day.
I need to be closer to work. My biggest thing is like I'd like to not have to walk 5 miles a day.
It's good for you.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, I enjoy it, but some days it's like a lot, and some days I'll take an Uber or whatever. But it's nice to not need to I don't know. It'd be interesting to be closer to where I work. I'm mostly there are experiences I haven't had, and I want to have them anyway.
So you're thinking like moving downtown or something?
Yes, possibly one of those like big tall buildings. I've never lived in a big tall building before. I've always been on the floor.
Don't do that.
I've lived in a second-story apartment. Once
You're
when I
not
moved
gonna
in with a
like
lady
it,
who kicked me
Keyan.
out.
You're not gonna like it. There's no way you're gonna like it.
Why not?
Because I know you, dude.
You can get a south-facing window that has a lot of light. You can get a balcony where the air is cleaner, the noise from the outside is less significant, and there are no mosquitoes because mosquitoes stay on the ground. And so I could spend more time outside in direct sunlight, and that sounds nice. And then I'm also closer to things downtown, so I'm not like having to negotiate with myself about how I'm going to get home.
Staggers. It's a good thing we have the show weekly. We can see how Keyan is becoming a whatever this is going to turn him into.
Next week I'll have
he's going to be wearing a suit,
a vest, and a turtleneck.
This is what happens every cycle.
Polo.
Stackers. Just remember who stays pleb.
Who stays pleb?
This guy.
That guy.
This guy.
That guy, apparently. I think an apartment is pretty pleb. But
downtown Austin.
Is that
high rise?
I don't. Stay humble. I mean, ideally, it would not. I don't know what we're gonna get, but it would be.
We're going in a bull run, so this makes sense. All developers, all developers go hard in the bull run.
It'd be.
This makes sense.
The idea is to have comparable rent, so it's not like we're going ham.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what this new coupe turns into.
Anyway, we don't know what we're going to do. We might stay in our current place. Anyway, but we're just thinking about it. This is me like learning that negotiation and haggling and stuff like that is actually like a necessary human activity.
What do you mean?
Like there is no other way to come to an agreement on a price when there are very few people who actually like are selling the good and want the good. The only way to come to a price where one person isn't just agreeing to the other person's price is to negotiate. And so, it took me a long time to appreciate this, but this experience of negotiating my rent allowed me to appreciate this. Is where this is like necessary. There is no better way to do this other than to negotiate. And coming to that conclusion made it way more like made it way less emotional for me. I don't view negotiation as such an emotional activity where someone is trying to harm me.
Yeah, you shouldn't.
I'm trying to harm them. That's if you read the comments here, that's how most people feel about negotiating. It's how I felt about negotiating, even though I felt like it wasn't really.
No, it's not that. Okay, that's strange that you felt that way.
Do you negotiate your rents?
No, not at all. What I was going to say though, I think. I do think it depends on what you're negotiating. If it's just like a rent or lease, you do have some wiggle room there. Like there is some wiggle room there, so you can negotiate depending, on how that started. I mean, we had to do that for this place. Like there was a few things that we had to change, like 3 specific things. And if one of them would have happened, then we would have just walked. And it's not personal. It's just you didn't fulfill the needs that we needed. And so there's that kind of thing, but then there's the the negotiating in like we were talking about B2B earlier, like stuff like that, and where that's more of a relationship that's going to be built over the long term. So you want to be a little bit more amicable with the negotiations, if that makes any more sense. Like if you plan on doing this the rest of your life, then you want to make sure that those negotiations, maybe they both meet in the middle and there's both sides are getting something out of it, and it's not one more than the less, because as soon as that happens, that builds, all sorts of negative things.
Yeah,
that's what I would say, and that's what I've discovered with negotiation. But I'm terrible at negotiating. Some would say.
Some would say. Who would say that? Who would say that about you, Car? Let's call them.
I think, but I do think there is something. I look at it like these days. I definitely. Like when it comes to like Pleb Lab negotiations, I definitely see what we have and I know what we can offer. And there's times where I know that we don't have those things and know we can offer. And I won't go and try to fit us in a thing just to say that we can do that, because I know we can't do that. But if there are people that says, "Oh, are you sure you can do that?" I'm like, "Yeah." Car, Pleb Lab. Are you kidding me? Like
Dude,
it's not even I don't even have to think about it, like if it can be accomplished or not. And I think that's where you kind of have to know what you're comfortable and strong in and confident in, and then also know where you're not, so that way you shouldn't even be in those deals sometimes. You don't want to pull one over people if that makes any sense.
Oh, no, never. Yeah, definitely not. But I think there is, but even like if both parties are honest, negotiate, the big thing for me was like negotiation doesn't only happen among dishonest people. It can like it can happen among honest people, and it needs to happen, in fact, in certain situations among honest people. And that was like the realization for me is like it's not gross for me to ask for
that's weird that you felt like
a fair price on something. It isn't offensive. I'm not harming the other person to be like, hey, I don't think this is right. And so I think that was a pretty cool realization. But a lot of people agreed in the comments I was talking to someone about it, and they thought that it was maybe a cultural thing, that in a lot of other countries they negotiate fairly regularly. Like, they're buying from a local producer, a local farmer or whatever. And so then the market is thin, is a way to describe this, where there's not a whole lot on the other side of it. And so a negotiation is like natural, but in the United States markets are not like that.
Yeah. Elvis Mercury said, it's like he says a lot here, but he said, I was traveling through Africa some years ago. As a white dude, I drew a ton of attention. People would swarm around me wanting to talk to me. The fake friendliness made me feel gross and angry. After a bit, I just ignored them, which would result me in walking down the streets with some dude scampering. Where does this get into negotiating? I don't understand where this is going.
Oh, he's describing his experiences around negotiation, and that there is
just getting bothered on the street. Welcome to Austin. That's people.
There's dishonest. A lot of the comments are describing quite dishonest behavior in other party in situations where negotiations happen, and that is part of it. But part of my argument is like that's why negotiation needs to happen. Is they're kind of testing someone's ability to be honest.
We got OX Lamar says, I absolutely hate negotiating. This may be a shortcoming of being an introvert, but I feel like I'm haggling on a flea market, cheapening, lowballing the product someone is offering, or worse, being a poor beggar. Like in a shop, I either accept the price on the tag and buy the product or not and move on. I will say that there's something to be said, and this is kind of how I feel about a lot of things these days. You do, like, there are some times where you're negotiating something and it actually ends up being better because you're already working with people that negotiations are going to go well. So they're going to lead to some fruit for the both of you. So like those are the best kind of negotiations to be in, where you already know the outcome is going to be positive. You just need to figure out like the specifics of it all. Those are the best negotiations. I think the ones that pain me the most, the ones that like don't keep me up at night, but the ones where I'm like, man, again, the ones I feel really strong about are the ones where like you're negotiating something and you're trying to offer them something that they desperately need, and then they don't take you up on that offer. And it's kind of like, gosh, we could have helped them. Like we really could have helped that. We really could have helped them. And the fact that they didn't take it, you're only going to see them suffer from it, if that makes any sense. And those are the ones that actually, like, I feel bad. I'm like, man, could I have said something different, slightly different? Like, could have. But then when you talk about it internally, you come to realize that they're just not there yet, and they don't get it. And there's nothing you can do about those negotiations. Those you just got to let go, let God.
Let go, let God. Dang, is that like a modern
another
Jesus
thing where I
will?
do personally? Like I will like, I'll talk to Teresa about stuff, and I'll be like, I'm just gonna pray on it, and I'll pray on it, and I'll sleep overnight, and I'll come back, and it's usually something good or something bad, and then that's where it goes. But I think there's something to be said about like using all resources available. Obviously, I'll talk with you or whoever. Like I think you got to use all resources available for negotiations, because you want to make sure you're presenting the optimal thing for both sides.
Yeah. Part of this is being really considerate. I think that's totally of the other party.
It's funny. I guess I do know a lot about negotiating. David Delby says, I used to feel awkward about negotiating until I needed to do it as part of my day-to-day work. The best thing I can suggest is simply doing preparation beforehand to find 3-4 comparable prices from competing providers. That way you're not trying to beat down a vendor's price that is subjective. That's a great idea. You have something to anchor to and can share alternatives with all transparency without any feelings of guilt or awkwardness. It's a great idea.
Yes, indeed.
David W. David W. always has great stuff. Cool. Keyan, good post.
Yeah, I thought it was fun to talk about.
Yeah. So what did you guys negotiate with the rent? So you're just gonna do month to month?
We extended a month so that we have more time to decide, because we were doing the negotiation like within the window of time that we already should have decided. And
so they just won't do like a month to month in the interim.
Well, we don't want to. We could maybe negotiate a month to month, but we don't. We if we want to stay, we want to stay for like a year and not have to think about it. Yeah, it should be pretty fast. We don't have much stuff. We'd probably just pay someone to do it. Last time I was trying to work my normal work and then still do it.
Yeah.
It was a bit much.
Yeah. The next top story is abandoned adoption, Bitcoin backslides and hard truths. Number 307. This is a Bitcoin territory post from Siggy47, June 10th. 55 comments, 2,860 sats. What is this?
Yeah, this is a great post from Living on Bitcoin, where they I think overall the sentiment is they're pretty disappointed and bearish on the prospect of really living on Bitcoin. They say over the last year or so, they've seen a huge reduction in merchants that are accepting Bitcoin, and then like a tapering off of other services like gift cards and like the limits and the KYC on them. Similarly with ATMs, they've seen a lot of those like vanish or start having weird limits on them. Like I think he described, he traveled for 30 minutes to go to one ATM and can only get 500 euros out of it. He describes the prepaid gift cards having decreasing limits and new KYC limits on them. And it just comes to the realization that like maybe it's not, maybe Bitcoin will never be this thing. Is kind of he kind of flips on the other side of it, where he's like, you'll never be able to live on Bitcoin. Instead of being like, maybe it's a little early, but he says like, maybe we're too late is kind of the conclusion he's coming to. And then he shares a quote from Alan Watts in here where, what is it? It's where you're trying to be happier actually impedes your ability to be happy, and that it because you're in trying to be happy, you're admitting that you're unhappy. And so it's more, he's like, I'm just going to accept the state of where things are and not push for adoption. That is maybe the best situation he's in. And he's like, he says most Bitcoiners are using something like Spritz.finance, where you can settle your debts through them using Bitcoin. And so that's what he's going to do. Anyway, that's the kind of conclusion. I don't know what Spritz.finance is, but he seems, he seems like a trustworthy source as far as like what people who are living this way are like the things that they're using, and that might be what they're doing. Have you used that service?
Never. Leo, for the top comment, he says, fascinating write-up. Thank you. In Vancouver, we had tremendous success in the past year and half building a local circular economy. I'm still quite impressed how normal it has become, at least among Bitcoiners, to regularly spend Bitcoin. People know how important it is to kickstart a Bitcoin economy, and merchants are happy about the additional business. There's some learning curve for users and merchants, but that's exactly why we are pushing for it. I'm with Leo, man. I already planted my flag. I'm not moving from it, if that makes any sense. And I get it. Like, I totally would be on the doomer side of things, but being in Austin, and I mean, you saw the Mutiny post, right? They just bought with eCash. So, dude, bullish on Austin. You saw, I don't know if you saw the thing from Johnny Ochoa. So he's a local Bitcoin chef here, and he just orange pilled a whole community where they gather on weekends to, like, hang out with families and food and stuff like that. So I'm just even more bullish than ever on where we're headed here locally in Austin. Because it wasn't like that in 21. You remember Michael was trying to onboard everybody like one by one, like totally different now. Now we have like all sorts of people onboarding.
But importantly, Michael's also pivoted his business away from having to do that, maybe for good reason.
Yes, but I'm just saying, like, the fact that he's not the only one doing that is like, it's big. And you can already see it's already enveloped inside the food and agriculture ecosystem here in Austin. Not entirely, but it's enough to where it's a push. And this is where I'm just even more and more bullish on Bitcoin adoption in Austin.
I think I have a more tempered view of it, like a more mature view of how it's likely to happen, and I think it's going to happen much more slowly. And there isn't really orange pilling a merchant. I don't think that really is likely to happen. Although Leo describes, successful attempts in Vancouver, but
it's not going to be El Salvador. You're not going to get people to accept Bitcoin because they have to or they must or something. No, it's going to be people that opt into it. It's an opt-in.
Yeah, that's
why I'm saying it's a human movement. It's an opt-in human movement. It's like, and I get everything he says here is true. Like it's not like none of this is true. This is all true. Choke point 2.0, the KYC, post Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin's a new Tradfi. Like all of this is true. Not saying it's not true. I'm just saying there's Bitcoiners here in Austin that are just not opting into this bullshit. That's it. So full stop.
Yeah, but I think if you're living on Bitcoin, it won't make a dent. I think that's mostly his point. For someone who's trying to live on Bitcoin, it's gotten worse and not better, and that is a bearish sign for him.
If all the influencers are right, and everything's supposed to go to hyper-Bitcoinization because of the fiat dollar inflating, and if everything that these people on these monuments say is true, which are like the Saifedeans, the Lynn Aldens, like all the influencers, if what they say
Lynn
is...
Alden says that, to be fair.
Okay, I'm sorry, Lynn. If all of them say this, Keyan, then none of this matters. And people aren't going to want dollars. They're going to want Bitcoin for whatever they're trading. So we'll see.
Yeah, but will they be able to? Will the regulations make it such that they can't if they're running a legal business, etc.? Those are I think those are like the things that are most of the problems that he cites here. It's not.
Well,
yeah.
Technically, eCash is supposed to fix this. So.
Well, I mean, we'll see. Maybe it does. Maybe it does solve all the regulatory issues and the usability
Just saying,
issues.
Like if everything people are building saying is true, then this won't matter.
But what if they're wrong?
Well, if they're wrong, then we need to figure out something else. We're already headed in the other direction. I just don't see, at least here locally. I don't know how it is in other places, and we don't have a president that hasn't made Bitcoin a currency like El Salvador. So I don't know how it's going to play out in other places, but I imagine if you have your local food, water, couple restaurants, clothing stores, the basic necessities, probably will never get electricity bill, probably will never get like water bill, probably will never get a rent until somebody builds out like a citadel for Bitcoiners here in town. But like, I think all the other aspects of it can be accomplished with Bitcoin only as an accepted form of payment. But maybe that's too bullish.
Someone already selling clothes for Bitcoin in Austin?
No, but they should. They should make a clothing store. Anyway, I'm just saying, like, it's.
Yeah, it sounds like you didn't disagree, and you added some of your own thoughts to it, where it's like Austin.
What's this?
Austin Bend.
Bitcoin ATMs, gift cards convert to fiat at purchase. Yeah, I'm the turtle, man.
Yeah, I think this is pretty good. This is probably...
It's just the high time preference type of people are on the left side, and the low time preference Bitcoiners are on the right
I think
side.
it's a bit insulting to the people who want the adoption.
Compared to... I'm not calling them fiat normies or anything. I'm just saying, like, and if you're in the Bitcoin camp, I do think that is a high time preference thing, the left side.
But we know people who do that are very low time preference, who do that kind of stuff.
Well, maybe
and are maybe upset.
You've been talking about
and are maybe upset about how shitty or sucky it is, and that's fine. I think it is sucky, But I think all it requires is admitting that it's going to be.
I love the Bitcoin company gift cards. I use them all the time, but I think this is where we go, the right side. And who knows?
It is. It's what we have to do. We don't have a choice.
Yeah, we don't have a choice. They're arresting us, Keyan. Have you not seen
me.
Have you not seen the?
No, not me.
Whoa.
Never.
The next. This is the final top story.
Yeah, this is the final.
The final top story of the week is Marginal Differences. This is from Frost Dragon. 14 comments, 3,808 sats. This is a fireside philosophy territory. It's weird.
You doing okay?
No, I was like trying to see why my thing is lopsided, but it's because I'm on the edge. I'm
Living
on the edge.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is this?
Yeah. So Frost Dragon wrote about how he's kind of taken a different view of the changes they make to their life and accepted small wins as being like cumulatively worth it.
Yes.
And so just like, because he kind of expected when he changed something, and because change can be hard, that big change, that there would be like a proportional amount of change that would happen. But instead he's like, no, there's these small, simple things that have made enough of a difference for me that they're worth me continuing doing. And so he lists them out here, and he has plans to share more, but it's things like trying to be someone who's willing to learn, sunlight at the beginning of every day, very good for circadian rhythm setting, being patient mostly. That relates maybe to the last post a bit. Describes in music, there's this stay behind the beat thing. I wasn't aware of that because I'm like basically
Stay behind the beat. What is that?
Tone deaf.
Oh, rushing in is the first sign of musical maturity. Oh, okay.
Yeah, like if you're like jamming, you're jamming with your buddies. It's Friday
just feeling
night.
it out
You're
as opposed to like trying to lead.
Trying to be ahead of them. Trying to
Show off.
predict.
Yeah, you hate those guys when you jam out with them.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. And chess, making slow moves rather than
Developing moves.
Yeah,
Slow developing.
I guess that's how they say it. Anyway, lots of stuff like that.
I
not
could get behind all this.
Yeah, it's all really, it's pretty standard advice, but he's saying this is the stuff that, changes that he's seen like a marginal difference in, but like a positive one.
Yeah.
And is not attached to seeing a huge impact, a huge benefit.
Yeah, totally. This is good stuff. Top comment was from MSD. He said, "It is very true what you say. Those little things, moments, and people that, although insignificant for many, make a difference in a day, a week, a year, or two, which we must give value every day." Undisciplined says, "Glad you're back." Where did he go? AKG says, "This article is very nice. I think that in life we can identify moments in which we should give yourself the full enjoyment of your thoughts, and it could be at the beginning of the day while you drink your coffee. Personally, I love coffee. It is also very important to organize your day with Blackboard. It is great. It helps you personally, and if you apply it at the family group level, it is very good. More than putting your feet on the grass."
Is Venezuela on the sea? Is it?
Venezuela?
Yeah, I thought it was landlocked for some reason. Maybe I'm wrong. Is it Central America?
Yeah, no, I'm not from there.
Gosh, I feel like I should really learn geography better. But
Yeah.
yeah, awesome. I think.
What do you think? What's your take on this?
I think that sounds about right. It's like with crash dieting. Like, the idea is to get results really fast rather than make like a very, small, but, over a long term, many small improvements towards something better. So I think it's consistent with what you need to do. Although I am fond of.
Have you made any marginal differences this year?
Marginal differences? No, probably. I mean, maybe. I don't really know. Probably not. I'm mostly just grinding all the time, so I don't really do. I'm mostly trying to avoid anything but grinding. All grinding all the time. That's my current. What about you? What do you feel like your small difference?
I think the only thing I've made here recently, two things. So definitely turning off the phone more. So I find myself turning it off as soon as I get home, turning it off at work sometimes, and just turn off the phone. So that's one thing. Like, let it serve you, not you serve it. If that makes any sense. The second thing that has helped me tremendously is reading scripture right when I wake up. So, getting dressed and all that stuff, and then reading scripture for like at least 15 minutes. And then when I get home, the first thing I do is read scripture.
Wow.
As opposed to like consuming content. Because it just gets my framing right, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it sets a tone.
Yeah. That's the only two things I've changed up recently.
There was someone who gave some advice on Stacker News a while ago saying bookend your days, where you like read, a book first thing in the morning and you read a book the last thing at night. It sounds very similar to what you're describing.
Yeah, because there's just a ton of like, I was I was reading something last night about consciousness and how few people actually listen to their inner conscience, and how usually your conscience tells you things that you don't want to do if you really listen to it. And it was talking about how to form steps to actually doing those things and seeing the results from them and how that looks like. It was fascinating. It was all tied with scripture and stuff. It was really fascinating stuff. Yeah. The next whoa, no, this is not. So we're jumping into Keyan's top stories of the week. I got mine that I want to choose, but that's all. That's what you, the stackers, voted on. I don't know why you picked those topics, but you did. So we covered them. Pick some better ones next time.
Wait, you didn't like this one?
I thought this was. I mean, I feel like, there's couple weeks in a row we were getting some really good topics. Good.
I thought those are pretty good. We have a hostel.
Those were very. It was a very
philosophical
philosophical week. It seemed like on Stacker News.
Yeah, everyone's at BTC Prague because they do a banger of a conference there. I got like DMs where people are like, "Hey, are you here?
Oh, really?
I saw Super Testnet.
Oh, wow.
Are you here?"
Wow. Keyan's a popular guy, apparently.
It wasn't many people.
What's this story? Cool update on Hedgehog protocol?
Yeah. So speaking of Super, Super continues to work on Hedgehog protocol. I haven't really.
Did you call it V2?
No, I think this is just further, like more elaborate thoughts, not V2 yet. But what I realized reading through his post here is that he's basically thinking about how do you design a Lightning where that assumes the participants are offline. And so that's what it seems to be the underlying motivation with this kind of thinking, like the problem statement he's starting with, which is a different set of assumptions than the Lightning Network's designed with, and I think it's leading him down a really interesting path. I haven't dove deep into it yet to really understand if it can live up to the promises.
That was always my thing when I first came in to Blub was like, why don't we have offline Lightning payments? I was always, remember that? I was very upset about that. I was like, what have you guys been doing? It was like, how dare you not have offline Lightning payments? And I think the best thing you guys gave me at the time was like an LNURL withdrawal or an LNURL, payment.
Yeah.
I just remember thinking that was just like really...
Yeah, not satisfactory.
Not satisfactory at all. So what did he say? How's he going to fix it?
Well, he's doing, God, I forget what it's called, but it's like thing called a connector, which I believe is something that was first like really used in ordinals. But he's like, we can use this scripting technique in a payment context to give us some of this offline functionality.
And as soon as it detects the payments online, it shoots it over?
I mean, I'm not sure. All I'm saying is I think I've uncovered some of the motivations.
Well, it looks like he's using HTLCs, but I thought those had like 2-week limits or something.
I think he still has these limits, but I'm not sure what the revocations look like. He described this in his last post about Hedgehog. This update specifically was about two things he's working on that he's excited about. I believe one of them is the ability to basically send a channel open to someone else, like send them money before send money to their pub key, and when they come online, they basically have a Hedgehog channel with you.
I have a question. This is probably a dumb question, but who cares? Why can't I just send to a big, I don't know, channel? Yeah, somewhere on the hop way to your wallet, and once it detects, I guess let's say like this big channel, let's just call it, I don't know, async, right? And you're over here, Coob, I'm over here, and I want to send you a payment, but your node is offline because you didn't update, whatever. Who cares? And I route through one of these big async, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they detect that your node's offline and hold payment and then send it once it's back online?
Well, that's what Zeus does for you with your Lightning address. It tries to be pretty fair to liquidity on the network and only hold it for a certain amount of time. Darth Coin mentioned in response to this episode that there's another method that they're using. Some of the Bolt 12 stuff and some of the future upgrades that are planned on Lightning will allow this to happen. It'll be part of the LSP spec. So those are like planned things.
It's almost like a trying to connect when your server's offline.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that you can't. What am I trying to say?
Yeah, but I still don't receive the request.
It also, another thing, now that you kind of look at it from that kind of logic, it makes you wonder, like, why isn't there like a cluster of a sort for nodes?
You mean eCache, Car?
Is that what it is?
No, but I mean that's kind of what is eCache. The kind of what eCache is doing. Is
but why does it need
middle thing?
Yeah,
that's between the receiver and everyone else, and allows them to hold the funds temporarily.
Super will figure it out.
Yeah, but I think he's I think he's wrenching on this problem. I haven't spent time to really understand it and say what it is. But I think the operating from the assumption that the channel parties are offline mostly, and we can't assume they're online all the time, is likely going to lead him to something rather unique and pretty cool, and maybe even
what would be your advice if you gave it? What would be your advice to give him?
Double down on whatever the weird or the abnormal problem statement that you are operating under, and just don't begin backsliding on that premise, because the premise is the power, and otherwise you're going to be biased towards everything that everyone else is doing, which is like this assumption about being on. If I'm right about the motivation being
send
offline stuff. Don't ever begin trying. Don't ever concede that people need to be online, and just keep, banging your head.
It would be cool if he did like a Sonic. You ever play Sonic the Pinball? Sonic Pinball.
No, I don't think I played the pinball.
Well, when you play Sonic Pinball, this is like a Sega Genesis game. It would shoot the payment. It would shoot Sonic out, and it would be interesting. And this would be a good experiment. I don't know how you would do this, maybe something else, but it would be cool to see if you could, same thing. I send to you through async, right? And you're offline. It'd be cool if it just kept bouncing everywhere else like a pinball until you came back online. I don't know how you would do that, but that'd be funny if it if it was like a Sonic metaphor. It's probably a dumb idea, but
I don't know. Maybe that's what he's thinking about. I don't know. He is Hedgehog. And Sonic is a hedgehog.
Really lean into the Sonic thing.
That's Car's advice. Think about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Research Sonic Pinball, and you'll find your answer.
And there's a bunch of new movies starring.
Dude, I do that all the time.
Jim Carrey.
Actually, I think that's how you get really great ideas, is when you step outside of the current and not even look adjacent. Like, you're automatically thinking, just look at networks or whatever, or this file server thing. No, look entirely different areas, totally different, and see how you can apply them here. I mean, I do that all the time. Actually, my biggest problem is I do that first before I look at adjacent things.
Yeah. You can go wrong on both ways. For sure.
Good stuff. I feel like we helped him.
I don't think we did. He's also not watching this. He's partying in BC Pro.
Dude, he watches.
Probably on
he
Sailor's
told me he
yacht
watches
right
Stacker
now.
News Live. You watch Stacker News?
He's probably drinking champagne out of some lady's belly button. Sailor? Yeah.
Wow, that would be, dude. Take that picture. That'd be hilarious. Your next story was Bitcoin is a Tradfi asset now. We were saying this earlier. Is it really?
Yeah.
Do you really think it is?
I think, this is what Gray Ruby is saying here, is that it's both now. Is that there's Bitcoin, we don't have a choice over how Bitcoin gets used. And just he breaks it into two camps, where he says there's adoption model A, which is kind of the plebs, us, emerging markets, people who really need Bitcoin, and their adoption model A. And then adoption model B is TradFi, ETFs, corporations, high net worth people, and that's the way that they're gonna adopt it independently, and there's no stopping them. But there's also, they can't stop us, and so they're just happening concurrently, and they're maybe somewhat competitive, but they are both happening, and I think that's real. I think it seems pretty real. I think it's a good way of viewing it, segmenting it.
Undisciplined says, in this divergent scenario, it doesn't seem like Americans or those from the lesser developed nations would be stuck on the outside looking in. If Model A is operating somewhere, then Bitcoin should be accessible to pretty much anyone in a wealthy country. I think the issue is that those living under Model B don't feel the necessary pain to bother with Bitcoin. Our fiat works pretty well as a medium exchange, but it's terrible store value. So most of our fellow countrymen will only really want Bitcoin for its store value property. You think that's fair? I think that's fair. Chris Dejaj says, we're living through some interesting times, and I'm optimistic either way, as I think those that really want to use Bitcoin will find a way, and hopefully we'll be able to help them. For me, the other question is to what extent the big players, banks, etc., will be able to manipulate the price of Bitcoin, or will be mainly what we currently see, the day-to-day volatility, and over the long term, Bitcoin will do its thing regardless. I think it's still too early. I think the divergence path makes a lot of sense. It definitely feels like a divergence is happening.
Yeah.
Not only within the ecosystem, but in the greater state of the world.
Yeah. So we have post-Bitcoin ETF, but we still have pre-Bitcoin ETF. That's maybe another way to view it. And they're both, they're both going to diverge a bit, but because they're underneath as a protocol, they're not really that they can
operate in the same world.
Yeah, they can communicate with each other. And so maybe that's the way it goes. And then I think ultimately the Tradfi model dies.
It's kind of like Linux, dude.
Hopefully.
Right.
What do you mean?
I think maybe there's the different flavors of Linux that you have right now. People adopted it, and slowly over time, people will just naturally move that way to Linux because there's just easier and easier operating systems out there that are more approachable to regular people. And then there's, the hardcore Red Hat server.
I don't think that's the hardcore anymore.
Oh, is it not?
I think it's like Nix OS.
Okay.
Arc.
But I'm talking about the stuff that's makes millions of dollars every year.
Oh yeah, that's all the server software runs on Linux.
I feel like that's, I don't know, maybe it's a bad analogy.
The cloud runs on Linux, except for Stack Overflow. They run on Windows.
Oh, that's interesting.
And some of Apple stuff they run on Apple stuff.
Xserve?
Huh?
Is it Xserve?
I think they're on something else now, but I don't know if you paid attention to the recent AI intelligence.
Oh, we're about to get into that here.
Okay.
Coob.
Okay. Car.
This is mine. We're jumping off of Keyan's post. This is mine. OpenAI appoints former NSA director to the board. What is this? Did you see this? How upset are you about this?
I don't know how to feel about it.
Just got posted earlier. Edward Snowden said they've gone full mask off. Do not ever trust OpenAI or its products, ChatGPT, etc. There is only one reason for appointing an NSA Gov director to your board. This is willful, calculated betrayal of the rights of every person on Earth. You have been warned. Apparently, OpenAI has appointed this guy to its board of directors.
I don't know what he was head of. I guess he was what part of the NSA he was head of?
Who knows?
I don't think he was
but this is according to The Verge. The Verge is the one that broke this story.
Well, OpenAI released a blog about it. I linked to it in the comments here.
I'm surprised they actually admitted it. Yeah. Oh wait, we clicked the wrong thing. Oh wow. Oh, so they
are owning it. But so what they describe, why they hired him is they see AI as being very useful for thwarting cyber attacks. So what they're saying is appointing this guy to their board of directors is going to allow them to better serve businesses who need to protect themselves from cyber threats. That's
like our neighbor.
That's the story. Well, our neighbor here is doing what they do is background check, AI assisted background checks. What I say is they're doxing people for a living.
Gosh.
But yeah, that's
wild.
Yeah. So whether he's there for nefarious purposes or not, that's what they'd say. Is that he's there to serve their business needs. But I imagine the government has an interest in having great AI tools. And so this is likely suggestive of some significant partnership between the government.
I have so many points I can jump off this. I'm going to start off with the most, the one that the stacker should leave with is we can't afford this. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to go out and raise even more money. This is the right signal to send out there as a media blast. But honestly, the United States of America is in debt, and we can't afford to keep giving our money to these startups like OpenAI. We just can't afford it, Keyan.
Wait, but how does that tie in? You gotta connect the dots for the people, Car.
I'm trying to connect the dots for the people. I'm trying to get there. Let me get there. Don't say the safe word. It'll throw me off. What I'm trying to say is the most interesting thing about this is the fact that, and we were talking about it earlier. I don't know if the Sam guy is like, I was saying earlier, like there's no rest for the wicked, meaning like I don't know if this is his restlessness that is trying to get him to push to this darker state of the world. I mean, he did help WorldCoin. There are clues there that maybe he is restless with this kind of stuff, and maybe he is moving in this direction. I'm not saying the person that he appointed is a bad person or anything like this, but it does send the signal out to the average American that that this is not a good thing for the American public. It's the same thing that a lot of people were sounding off about Apple Intelligence this week. So I don't know. What do you think?
What do I think? I think, whether they did this publicly or not, I assume they'd be working with the government, just because if they have a leading AI product, there's no way the trillions of dollars that the government spends on surveilling the world are they wouldn't be interested in spending some of that money toward OpenAI to do that. I mean, Palantir built a whole business on like in the sector of like government surveillance intelligence.
It's right there. Let me see if I can find it. This would be defense. We can't afford it. We can't afford it.
Well, they don't care.
We just can't look. And so top 10 agencies for spending amounts in fiscal year, this is 2015. So Homeland Security, 13 billion, National Aeronautics, Space Administration, 16 billion, Veteran Affairs, 19 billion, Health and Human Services, 21 billion, Energy Department, 25 billion, Defense Logistics Agency, 27 billion. We get back down to defense, that's 28 billion. We can't afford it, Keyan, at this point.
They disagree with you? And
I just think like I'm not even joking around when I say this. I just like we can't afford it. Look at this is 2015 numbers. Imagine.
People have been saying this stuff forever.
I know, but it's just like we literally can't afford supporting OpenAI as a government entity. And I think this is why you appoint somebody like that, so you can get these government contracts a little bit more easier. At least you're connecting the dots now.
Okay, now
yeah.
There's
and then also to a certain degree. Hey, the agenda, Keyan. I found an agenda.
Oh, yeah. By the way, this is Car's episode with that where he doesn't have an agenda.
Federal agencies are secretly buying consumer data. I mean, this is out there. I've written about it on Thriller. So what I'm trying to say is we can't afford it. No. Like, we need somebody in office that can say, no, we're sorry, Sam. You're just going to have to live without. And that's just the truth. We can't afford it. America can't afford it anymore. We already have a war that we're supporting. We have other things on the border we're doing. Like
those aren't our wars. What are you talking about?
Hey, you need to send them aid. What I'm trying to say is just we can't afford it. Somebody needs to look into this. I don't know where it's going to head. I'm just saying that we can't afford it. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. I'm just saying we can't afford it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, assuming this leads to the government spending more money. Yeah,
we can't afford it. The American government can't afford it.
We can't afford anything because
can't afford it.
We're trillions of dollars in debt. So
can't afford it.
Yeah.
Free Text says the revolving door is turning. Being able to control the training corpus weights of AI is arguably the most important thing for the state over the next few decades. We can't afford it. Free TX. Gray Ruby says well said. Jesse James says war is peace, freedom is slavery, ignorance is strength, Ministry of Truth, Orwell 1984. We are so in it. Well, we can't afford it. I think in 1984 they could afford it. So,
could they? Were they rich?
I don't know. Just saying that sounds right.
Oh, I think we could.
We can't afford it. We can't afford it. I'm sorry. We can't afford it. OpenAI is going to cost us too much money. American government can't afford it. We can't afford it.
I agree. I mean, I agree we can't afford it, but they're going to spend the money anyway.
Dude, he's like raising how many billions? How much did he raise?
I think he's raising $8 trillion.
He's raising it, dude. We can't afford that.
But not from the government.
OpenAI, we can't afford it.
From the private sector,
we can't afford it. I'm sorry, we can't pay you for your services. We just can't afford it. Anyways,
Well,
I jumped to the other Stacker News post I want to share was awesome Linux laptops. Did you see this?
yeah, I've been looking at Linux laptops recently.
Yeah.
Have you? Too?
Apparently everybody hates this one. The more I read and the more research I did.
Yeah, I was looking at that a couple of years
ago. Is it that
ago.
bad though? How bad can it be though? It has like all these amazing.
I think it's built. It's supposed to be built pretty well. I don't know.
It has all these kill switches on it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, kill switches are great, but that seems to be pretty standard fare among privacy-focused, laptops that are trying to appeal to this demographic.
Then I found this Stacker News post. This was a really good Stacker News post because they go into everything. And I think the top one was like, hey, get a ThinkPad Carbon or X1 Carbon or get a 676.
Yeah, those seem to be the pretty much standard fare among the Linux crowd. I'm personally interested in getting a framework.
A framework? What is that?
If you go frame.work.
Frame.
These are laptops that you can replace and repair yourself.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the clickety-click feel like, though?
What do you mean, the trackpad?
Yeah, trackpad's everything.
Look at how you can take it apart. You can replace every part yourself. You can upgrade the motherboard yourself. It's just like 4 screws.
Wow, dude.
And they're supposed to get one? They're supposed to be pretty good. I've been thinking about it. What's cool is
oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, they're pretty reasonable. And look at you can swap out the ports yourself.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Really?
You're like, I need an HDMI port today. You take out your USB-C port on it, and then you slot in an HDMI one, and it's like literally replacing your ports on your thing in a modular way. It's like a completely modular laptop.
You can please.
It's still pretty early.
Bezel. Wow. This is awesome.
Yeah, you can color the bezel because it's just like a little magnetic thing, but you can see the ports there where they swap out. I think it's a little below. Yeah, the expansion. Or no, maybe lower.
Now I'm trying to put together my. Oh, that's not bad. Look, 14.
Yeah, pretty reasonable. And you can get a beefy one. I'm thinking about it.
This is super beefy. I just made a super beefy DIY.
Yeah, you can get one cheaper. I mean, it's probably runs hotter than a MacBook. It probably consumes more battery than a laptop. You probably have quite a bit of fan.
Get one, and then we can look at it.
Maybe I'll get one. But that's if I were to get a Linux one, that's what I'd probably be.
This is nice.
Interested in trying.
Cool. Well, yeah, we didn't mean to show framework, but anyways, check a look at this. Check a look at this post. It was a good post this week.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that post is.
And then it goes all through it. Yeah, you can find some Lenovo's for like $200 on eBay and Amazon.
Yeah, they're very affordable. I know.
Especially like the Gen 7s and stuff.
There's a Bitcoiner here who repurposes cheap laptops he finds on eBay for people to run nodes on because they're great. They're great for running nodes on because they have a battery.
Oh, nice.
And can survive power outages and stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, System 76 is another one. Cool stuff. The other one I wanted to share was some meta. Cheers to 3 years of Stacker News. Coob.
I don't know why they shared the Stacker News Live because that was like...
This is the only picture, the first picture that you took where they knew who you doxed yourself, probably.
I don't think so. I think I had a profile photo, but that was... And I had done podcasts before that, but we started probably like 6-8 months in.
Was it 6 months in?
I think so.
How young we look. This is at Willy Wonka. This is at Willy Wonka. Anyway, it's good to reminisce. I know you hate reminiscing, but... just something to bring up.
The thing about
3 years.
I don't, I feel like company age is a lot like, someone's birth year where you're like,
don't count it.
Well, you're like, oh, it's my birthday. What the fuck did I do this year? Did I do?
Was this your first post? Was this the first post?
That was the first post I made.
Wow, what a boss post.
Yeah, it was like, this should be the first post. And I posted
What was the 1,000th post?
The 1,000th?
Or what is this?
That's the 100,000.
Oh, wow. The Craig Wright. Wow. Is it every...
I don't know. Someone.
Is it every big one? Wait, what's the 200,000?
Probably nothing special, but you can type it in if you want.
It seems like they've been special.
Nope. Trend is over.
Wait, where is this going? Oh, buying Lightning. Oh, cool. Anyways, well, 2 for 3 ain't bad. Wait, do you have 4,000 yet?
Oh yeah, we have. I think we're almost to 600,000.
See, he just falls off the wheels after.
Don't give him. Oh, that is. Don't give him.
Just falls off the wheels after
click.
2,000. Or was it 200,000? 200,000. Yeah, it looks like it fell off the wheels after 200,000.
Yeah, 100,000.
Wait, how high does it go?
Pretty choice.
Yeah, it looks like so.
We're not at
Stackers,
600,000.
get it back
yet.
on track. Well, at least you can say one were good. And
One was good.
the other one I want to share was the podcast that you did with Mr. Max Webster. Haven't finished it all yet, but what did you think about? Did you listen to it?
You talk to me regularly. Yeah, I listened to it. I just wanted to make sure I didn't say anything really stupid, and I think I said only things that are moderately stupid,
Which is normal.
I feel pretty good about that. I feel like I could have been way more. I could have betrayed how stupid I am. More.
I say stupid things all the time. People just don't remember the stupid things.
Do you think that's how it is? Do you think they only remember the smart things?
I don't know. It just sounds right.
Sounds right. That's what leads you to say stupid things, Car.
If you're saying them, people expect it, and then when you say something profound, people are like, "Whoa, he's not stupid."
I see. So it's just enough reps, enough at bats. You say something smart.
I mean, we're all living in this post Bitcoin ETF world. It's hard, man.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the simulation, because I just listened
really?
to a podcast.
Oh, I'm gonna finish it. I haven't finished it all the way through, but it's on my list.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But Max is doing an interesting thing where he's like pairing founders with, kind of like philosophical, spiritual kind of concepts, like where that intersects with, the more sciencey, technical people.
It's good stuff. Got the top stackers of the week: Undisciplined, Kube, Rsync, Kristajaj, Grey Ruby, 0x Bitcoiner. A lot of new stackers stepping up lately. I've noticed. We don't see the same stackers anymore.
We had a bug in our trust algorithm that was
Exploitable.
No,
penetrable.
I don't think it was
defensible?
I don't think it was exploiting, but it was leading to a net reduction in quality. In terms of the people who are gaining trust. And so I changed that, and it seemed to improve quite a bit. And that's why we've seen Undisciplined come up further.
Dude, where's Rsync? I feel like Rsync doesn't get enough credit, man.
Well, Rsync isn't...
Sap him.
Rsync isn't really...
It makes a full-time living posting on Stacker News.
But you look at Rsync's spending, I would guess it's not... he's mostly spending to post.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
And so that's a good...
So you're saying, look, he's stacked $88K.
Yeah, he's doing a great...
He spent 72, so he netted 60?
Yeah.
Something, 61.
That's pretty good. He's maybe
dude,
paying for groceries.
30, 40, 49. Like, if it wasn't for Rsync, Stacker News would go... Rsync's grabbing all the news.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the game. Forget the comment. Or no, he comments too.
He occasionally...
Maybe it's more about the posting than it is about the commenting.
If you're paying attention, I think it's a combination of things, but I think Rsync is very prolific in terms of the links they post. I think it's a very...
You say they. Is there more than one person, you think?
Ooh, you think it's like a cabal?
Wait, what? Like what are you saying now?
A federation?
I thought it was just some dude that was...
I mean, it could be a dude. It could be...
you think it's multiple people?
It could be a woman.
Oh, that would be cool if it was multiple people. That would actually make a lot more sense.
I don't think it is, though.
You can just post at any time.
I think they're developed.
Do you think there's a Stacker News person that's multiple people?
Well, you say your Pleb Lab one is.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
So I guess there are. Stackers, chime in the comments. That would be interesting. I would wonder, like maybe they share it with their wife or something. That'd be interesting.
That's kind of why would they need to do that?
I don't know, throw people off. Got the why are we going to
get my wife to run my Stacker News account?
What if she is? It's just your wife talking instead of you. Million Sad Madness, leaderboard, Undisciplined, Grey Ruby. You're winning today. You're winning the day. They're ready to get into the most important segment in Bitcoin. It's called the Cowboy segment. I don't know why we still cover this. We need to get this out of the here. Oh wait, Cowboys.
That's right. Look at this.
Bitcoin is the future.
Elvis
Mercury.
Wow, these have changed up. I think Grey Ruby lost their hat at some point last week.
Tien Stacker, I see him all the time.
Yeah, Tien Stacker has been very active.
So it looks like who knows? Maybe Jerry Garcia will take this thing. Who's this? Is it still? We still think it's what's his name?
I don't know.
I think I know who it is.
Everyone has their
It's
theory,
not EK.
but they're in hiding.
It's not EK.
You don't want to dox them like Fiat Joff.
Whoa. Don't want to pull a rock star. Yes, I don't want to do that. What else do we need to cover? I think that's it. I think that's everything. I'm sure we do. No, we don't. Okay, well, there you go.
I guess. Okay.
What are you doing this weekend?
What am I doing this weekend? I am going to work.
I thought you were going to say Schlitterbahn. I was like, wow.
I don't know. I'll probably try to... Oh, I'm getting the philosophical case for Bitcoin. I'm going to start reading that. That should be fun. That's a new book by the Resistance Money people. Or I think the title of the book is called Resistance Money. So I'm going to start reading that. We might do the plan is to do a book club around that. They've agreed to participate in a book club around that. So we'll probably...
That's cool.
Do that. But those are my big weekend plans. How about you?
I was going to get my motorcycle fixed this weekend, but apparently it's busy season, so can't bring it in, which kind of sucks. I was like really looking forward to it.
Is it something you can repair yourself?
I'm sure I could.
What about...
I just don't have the time to do it.
We know the guy.
I don't want to be that guy that's just, when you're at
someone who's a mechanic.
Oh, I didn't even think about him.
Yeah, and he's relocated recently somewhere that might be convenient.
Yeah, I should ask him. Anyways, I was just going to get it towed and then have them fix it.
Oh, no, I'd call it.
And then I was going to, it's good to be in the shop, Keyan.
Oh, you like being in the shop? You like
being in the shop.
Like being around the real men? When they see they shake your soft hand. So lotioned and
steel hat. It's good to be in the shop.
Yeah.
It's good to be in the shop. No, we don't have any comments. We have some zaps. Oh wait, where is this one from? Okay, yeah, this is from last week. From Blockchain Boogie. Says, nice to hear from Pleb Poet. Good luck to her. Zap. If you didn't check, look at the background. See anything different?
Yeah,
saw Pleb Poet.
Pleb Poet special.
She designed this whole background. She cleaned it up for us.
Yeah, look at how great it looks. It looks
it's no longer the base boy corner. This is the clean boy corner.
We're clean boys.
Clean boys over here.
Oh,
right,
yeah.
Uncle Jim?
Jim says yes. He says
he
yes.
He just grunted yes. What did he say?
Signature Jim catchphrase. Sort of makes sense. He said cleanliness is next to baseliness.
Yeah. Well,
or it's godliness would be the normal phrase.
Stackers, you have yourself a good weekend. Enjoy that time with family and friends, and find your shop and feel like a man in it.
I don't. What is my shop where I feel like a man?
I don't know. Maybe your garage, right? You have some stuff in your garage. Do you
I
still
don't
have a garage?
I don't have a garage.
Oh, dude, that's why.
Maybe
when you move downtown, maybe you can get it. Maybe, dude, that's exactly. You're gonna do that, right?
What?
This is another reason why you should move. So you have two vehicles. You're gonna move downtown. Then you're gonna have to. Where are you gonna park those, Coob?
I mean,
you're gonna have to park those somewhere.
We only drive one some of the time. The other one's like
so you're gonna have to get like a parking garage thing. Yeah, that's gonna be.
No, we'll get rid of it. I think, I think they'll come with one. We'll go carless. What do I need a car for? I walk everywhere. I drive like one.
Cars are important.
They aren't though. I mean, the maybe people that are named them, but the real thing, you don't need it. You got other stuff you can do.
Yeah. Get a moped. All right.
Feet work. They're pretty good.
It's good. Good putt, Coob. This is a good one.
All right. I'm glad about that. Do you have a... Oh, you already said your signature
I usually
phrase.
do my thing where I go, Stackers, you go find a shop this weekend. I'll say it again. Stackers, you go find your shop this weekend where you can feel like a man.
Zap.